We tell stories of human. Way, not with artificial voices or AI slop. In the end, what's HFI without? Humanity? Subscribe to keep it this way. My name is Amir Sohal. Let's begin. Space was quiet. Too quiet. Far from Earth, in a cold and broken war zone. Small pieces of metal and fire floated slowly in the dark. A battle had just ended. Ships were destroyed. Weapons were silent. But the war was not over. Among the wreckage, injured soldiers were drifting in space. Some were alive. Some were barely breathing. Their suits were damaged. Their oxygen was low. Their voices were weak. Help, please, anyone. Their calls were slow and full of pain. These soldiers were not from one side. They were from many races. The war had brought many worlds together. But now, in this moment, they were all the same. They were helpless. And according to the rules of war, they should have been safe. Far away, a human medical ship watched everything. The ship was called Mercy Light. Inside, human medics moved fast. Screens showed life signals blinking weakly. Some were fading. Captain Elias stood in the command room. His face was calm, but his eyes were not. He looked at the screen again and again. Injured soldiers detected. A crew member said, multiple species. Oxygen levels critical. Elias nodded slowly. Prepare rescue teams, he said. We bring them in. All of them. There was no question. No hesitation. This was the rule. In every war across the galaxy, there was one law that no one broke. Do not harm the wounded. Elias believed in that rule. All humans did. The Mercy Light moved forward. Small rescue ships left the main vessel. Their lights cut through the darkness. One by one, they reached the drifting soldiers. Hold on. A medic whispered over the radio. We are here. A soldier from another species looked up. His helmet was cracked. His breathing was weak. You came, he said slowly. The medic nodded. We always come. For a moment, there was hope, but then something changed. A new signal appeared on the radar. Captain, a crew member said, voice shaking. Multiple ships entered the area. Elias turned. Identify them. There was a short silence. Then the answer came. Xyler Empire. The room became cold. The Xyler were known across the galaxy. Strong, proud, ruthless. But even they follow the rules. At least they used to. Elias took a deep breath. Open a channel, he said. A line connected. A tall figure appeared on the screen. Dark armor. Sharp eyes. No emotion. Xyler commander. This is Captain Elias of the human medical ship Mercy Light. Elias said calmly, this is a rescue operation. The wounded are under protection by galactic law. The Xyler commander looked at him and said nothing. For a few seconds, there was only silence. Then the commander spoke. We do not follow your laws. Elias frowned. These are not just human laws, he replied. They're agreed by all races. The commander's eyes did not move. We have evolved beyond weakness, he said. The injured are useless. Elias felt something cold in his chest. You are making a mistake, he said. Stand down. But the Xyler ships did not stop. They moved closer. And then they fired. A bright flash cut through space. One of the drifting injured soldiers disappeared. Gone. No warning. No mercy. The room inside Mercy Light froze. Did they just... One crew member whispered. Another blast. Another wounded soldier destroyed. Elias stepped forward. Stop, he shouted into the channel. They are defenseless. The Xyler commander looked at him with empty eyes. They are weak, he said. Weakness must be removed. More shots. One by one, the injured soldiers were being killed. Not in battle. Not in defense. But like targets. Inside the rescue ships, human medics watched in horror. A medic held a wounded alien soldier in his arms. It's okay, he said softly. You're safe now. Then suddenly, a beam of energy hit their ship. Everything shook. Direct hit, someone yelled. The small rescue ship exploded into light. Gone. Just like that. Back on the Mercy Light. Alarms started ringing. Rescue team destroyed. More Xyler ships incoming. Captain, we need to pull back. Elias did not move. His hands were tight. His eyes were locked on the screen. Another injured soldier was trying to crawl through space debris. Slow, weak, he was reaching for help. A Xyler ship turned toward him. Elias whispered, "Don't," but it was too late. Another shot, another life gone. Something inside Elias broke. "This is wrong," one crew member said quietly. "This is not war." Elias closed his eyes for a second. Then he opened them again. And now they were different. "Recall all units," he said. The room was silent. "Captain?" someone asked. "Recall them," Elias repeated. "Now." The rescue ships turned back. Fast. Urgent. Some made it. Some did not. The Xyler ships did not chase them. They did not need to. They had already done what they came for. When the last human ship returned, the war zone was empty. Only broken metal and silence remained. No wounded. No survivors. Inside the Mercy Light, no one spoke. The crew stood still. Some were angry. Some were afraid. Some just stared at the floor. Elias walked slowly to the main screen. He looked at the empty space where the soldiers once were. Then he spoke. "Send a message," he said. "To who?" the officer asked. Elias did not turn. "To all human fleets." The message was short, clear, and cold. Xyler Empire has broken the law. They are killing the wounded. Medical ships attacked. No survivors. There was a pause. "Orders, Captain?" the officer asked. Elias took a deep breath. His voice was calm, but heavy. "We return to command," he said. "This is no longer a rescue mission." He looked one last time at the dark space. At least not anymore. Far away, human fleets received the message. Commanders read it in silence. Some did not believe it. Some became angry. Some just sat still thinking, because they all knew what this meant. For centuries, humans had followed the rules. They fought with honor. They protected the weak. They saved even their enemies. But now, the rules were broken. And if the rules were gone, then war would change. Back on the Mercy Light, Captain Elias stood alone. He looked at a small screen. It showed the last signal from the destroyed rescue ship. A medic's voice. Soft. Calm. "We always come." Then static. Elias turned off the screen. His face showed nothing. But inside, everything had changed. He spoke quietly. Not to his crew. Not to command. But to himself. "If they want no rules." He paused. Then finished. "They will learn what that means." The Mercy Light turned away from the battlefield. Behind it, the silence remained. But it was no longer peaceful. It was a silence before something worse. Something stronger. Something human. The message spread fast. Across human space. Fleets received the same report. No one spoke at first. No one needed to. The words were simple, but the meaning was heavy. They are killing the wounded. For a long time, humans believed war had limits. There were lines that should never be crossed. Even in the darkest battles, there was still something called honor. But now that line was gone. Far above Earth, in a large command station, human leaders gathered. The room was quiet. Screens showed images from the battlefield. Destroyed ships. Empty space. No survivors. Admiral Renko stood at the center. Oh, calm and respected. He had seen many wars. But even he had never seen this. "They broke the oldest rule," one officer said. "They attacked a medical ship," another added. "They did not even try to hide it." Renko nodded slowly. "Yes," he said. "They wanted us to see it." A younger commander stepped forward. "So what do we do now? We follow the rules and lose? Or we change?" The room stayed silent. Everyone knew the answer, but no one wanted to say it first. Finally, Renko spoke again. "We do not become monsters," he said. A small pause. "But we also do not stay weak." He looked around the room. From this moment, the old rules are no longer enough. Orders were sent. Not loud. Not public. Quiet. Careful. Dangerous. Human fleets began to move, but not in the usual way. They did not gather into large groups. They did not march forward with power. Instead, They disappeared. Days passed. Then weeks. The Xylar Empire waited. Their fleet stood strong, ready for the next battle. But nothing came. No human attack. No signals. No warning. It felt strange. Xylar Commander Varric stood on his command ship, looking at empty space. "Where are they?" one of his officers asked. Varric did not answer. He did not like silence, because silence meant one thing. Someone was thinking. The first attack came without warning. A Xylar supply station, far from the main fleet, suddenly lost contact. No distress signal. No battle report. Just gone. A patrol ship was sent to check. When it arrived, there was nothing left, only broken metal. And silence. Hours later, another report came. A transport fleet disappeared. Then another. Then another. Each one was alone. Each one was easy to defend. But none of them survived. "They are hunting us," an officer said. Varric's eyes narrowed. "No," he replied slowly. "They are studying us." On a small human ship, hidden in deep space, a group of soldiers prepared for another mission. Their suits were dark. Their movements were quiet. No loud voices. No fear. Only focus. Commander Hale stood in front of them. "Target is a communication relay," he said. "No survivors. No signal must escape." The soldiers nodded. One of them asked, "What about surrender?" Hale paused for a second. Then he answered, "They made their choice." No one asked again. The human ships moved like shadows. They did not fight big battles. They did not face the enemy directly. Instead, they hit where it hurt. Supply lines, fuel stations, communication towers, small fleets, weak points. They appeared fast and disappeared faster. A Xylar officer watched his screen in panic. "Sir, we lost another station." "How?" Varric demanded. No signs of attack. No warning. They were just there. Another voice came in. "Commander, we are receiving strange signals. Human signals, but they disappear before we can track them." Varric clenched his fist. "This is not war," he said. "This is something else." Days turned into fear. Xylar soldiers started to whisper. "They are everywhere. They watch us. They wait." No one felt safe, not even inside their own ships. One night cycle, a large Xylar fleet was moving through a dark sector. Strong, armed, ready. Nothing could stop them, or so they thought. Suddenly, all lights went out. Screens went black. Weapons stopped working. "System failure," someone shouted. "Backup systems offline. Something is inside our network." Panic spread. Then a message appeared on every screen. Simple words. "Code, we are here." Before anyone could react, explosions. One by one, ships started breaking apart. Not from outside, from inside. Systems were hacked. Engines overloaded. Weapons turned against their own ships. In minutes, the fleet was gone. Back at the main Xylar command, silence filled the room again. But this time, it was not calm. It was fear. "They are not attacking like before," an officer said. "They are not fighting us. They are destroying us." Varric stood still, thinking, watching, learning. Finally, he spoke. "They are using our strength against us." He looked at the screen. "They are not stronger. They are smarter." Meanwhile, Human Command watched everything. Admiral Renko stood in the same room. Reports came in. Target destroyed. Mission successful. No human losses. Renko closed his eyes for a moment. This was working. But it did not feel like victory. It felt like something else. Something darker. A young officer asked, "Sir, how far do we go?" Renko opened his eyes. "As far as we must," he said. Weeks later, something strange happened. Human fleets stopped attacking again. No more raids. No more signals. Nothing. Just like before. They disappeared. The Xylar Empire waited. Again. But this time, they were not confident. They were afraid. "Why did they stop?" one officer asked. Varric looked at the empty space. "They did not stop," he said quietly. "They are preparing." Far away, in a hidden location, the full human fleet gathered. Not scattered, Not hiding. Together. Stronger than ever. Ships of all sizes. Weapons ready. Engines charged. Silent but powerful. Commander Hale stood beside Admiral Renko. All units ready, he said. Renko nodded. This is a final phase. He looked at the massive fleet. For weeks we made them weak. For weeks we made them afraid. He paused. Now we end it. A signal was sent. For the first time in many days, humans spoke openly. The message reached every Xyler ship, every station, every soldier. It was short, clear, and impossible to ignore. We are coming. Back on the Xyler command ship, alarms started ringing. Massive human fleet detected. Coordinates confirmed. They are all together. Varric stood up slowly. For the first time, he smiled. Good, he said. Now they fight like warriors again. But deep inside, he knew something was wrong. Because this was not the same enemy. Not anymore. As the human fleet moved forward, space itself seemed to hold its breath. No more hiding. No more waiting. Only one thing remained. War. But not the old war. A new one. A human one. Admiral Renko looked at the stars ahead. His voice was calm, but strong. They wanted a war without rules. He paused, then finished. Now they will face it. The galaxy was no longer quiet. It was waiting. The human fleet moved as one. Thousands of ships, dark and silent, cutting through space like a single blade. No loud signals. No wasted words. Only purpose. At the front stood the command ship, Resolute Dawn. Inside, Admiral Renko watched the stars. Distance to target? He asked. 6 hours. An officer replied. Renko nodded. Keep formation. No early attacks. This time, humans were not hiding. This time, they wanted to be seen. On the other side, the Xyler Empire was ready, or at least they believed they were. Commander Varric stood on the bridge of his warship. His fleet was massive, bigger than anything he had used before. Rows of ships, heavy weapons, strong shields. Everything was ready for a direct fight. They come in full force, an officer said. Yes, Varric replied, but this is not their style anymore. He did not trust it, not after what he had seen. Hours passed. The distance closed. Finally, both fleets could see each other. Human ships, Xyler ships, two armies facing in silence. No one fired. Not yet. Inside the human command ship, tension filled the air. Enemy fleet in range, an officer said, awaiting orders. Renko stood still. His eyes were calm. Hold fire, he said. Some officers looked surprised. Sir, they are ready to attack. I know, Renko replied. Let them wait. Minutes felt like hours. The Xyler fleet grew restless. Why are they not attacking? One officer asked. Are they afraid? Another said. Varric shook his head slowly. No, he said. They are doing something else. Suddenly, a signal appeared. Not a weapon, not an attack. A broadcast from the human fleet. On every Xyler screen, the same image appeared. It was not a threat. It was not a warning. It was a recording. A wounded Xyler soldier, floating in space. Weak, bleeding, alone. Then a human rescue ship arrived. A human medic reached out, carefully, gently, helping him inside. The video continued. More wounded soldiers, different species, different battles, all being saved by humans, treated, protected, given a chance to live. The final part of the video showed something unexpected. Xyler prisoners, alive, safe, not harmed. Then the message came, simple, clear, from Admiral Renko himself. We remember the rules, even when you do not. Silence filled the Xyler command ship. Some officers looked confused. Some looked angry, but some looked uncertain. Varric watched the screen carefully. His face did not change, but inside, something moved. Why show this? One officer asked. They want to look weak, another said. Varric spoke slowly. No, he said. They want to remind us what we lost. Before anyone could say more, the human fleet moved. Fast. Precise. Deadly. All ships attack. A Xylar officer shouted, but it was already too late. Human ships broke formation, not into chaos, but into patterns. Perfect patterns. Instead of attacking the whole fleet, they targeted specific ships. Command ships. Signal towers. Leaders. Commander, we are under direct attack, someone shouted. Our communication lines are failing. Command ships are being targeted. One by one, Xylar command ships exploded. Not random, not slow, fast, clean, accurate. They are not fighting us, an officer yelled. They are cutting us apart. Inside the chaos, Varric tried to give orders, but signals were breaking. Ships could not hear him. Fleets could not coordinate. Everything was falling apart. Meanwhile, human ships moved like hunters. They did not waste shots. They did not chase random targets. They knew exactly where to strike. Commander Hale led a strike team deep into enemy lines. Target locked, a soldier said. Enemy flagship ahead. Hale nodded. Take the shot. A silent beam fired. Direct hit. The Xylar flagship cracked, then exploded. Target down, the soldier confirmed. Hale looked ahead. Next. No emotion. No hesitation. Only mission. Back on the battlefield. Xylar ships started to panic. They're inside our formation. We cannot track them. They disappear and come back. Rumors spread fast. They are ghosts. They are not human. They are everywhere. Fear replaced control. Ships move without orders. Some tried to escape. Some fired randomly. Some simply waited, frozen. Varric stood in the middle of it all, watching his fleet fall apart. Not from power, but from precision. They are not stronger than us, he said quietly. They are breaking us. Another explosion. Another command ship gone. Another line of defense destroyed. Suddenly, all Xylar screens went black. For 1 second, everything stopped. Then a message appeared. Again, human message. You killed the wounded. Now we end the war. The message was not loud, not angry, but it was final. Varric looked at the screen. For the first time, he felt something new. Not anger, not pride, fear. He turned to his remaining officers. Retreat, he said. The room froze. Commander, retreat? One officer asked. Varric nodded. This is no longer a battle, he said. This is a hunt. But even retreat was not easy. Human ships blocked paths, cut off escape routes, forced Xylar ships into smaller groups, then destroyed them one by one. Hours later, the battlefield was quiet again, but not like before. This time, the silence belonged to humans. Broken Xylar ships floated in space, destroyed, empty, defeated. The human fleet did not celebrate. They did not cheer. They simply watched. Inside the Resolute Dawn, Admiral Renko stood in silence. Enemy fleet destroyed. An officer said, no major human losses. Renko nodded slowly, but his face showed no victory. Sir, we won, the officer said. Renko looked at him. This was not the end, he replied. Far away, deep inside Xylar space, a final signal was detected. A last stronghold, a final fleet, a place where the remaining Xylar forces were gathering. Commander Hale looked at the data. They are preparing for one last fight, he said. Renko nodded. Good, he said. Then we finish it properly. Orders were given. The human fleet turned. One final destination. One final battle. As the ships moved forward, the message spread across the galaxy. The war was almost over. But the most important part was still coming. Renko looked at the stars ahead. His voice was calm, strong, certain. They wanted a war without rules. He paused, then spoke one last line. Now they will learn why rules exist. The last battlefield was not loud. It was waiting. Deep inside Xylar space, near a dying star, the final fleet gathered. What remained of the Xylar Empire stood there, broken, but not gone. Ships damaged, weapons still active, soldiers tired but ready. They had lost many battles. But this one would decide everything. Commander Varric stood on the bridge of his last warship. The room was darker than before. Fewer officers, fewer voices, but more silence. Human fleet approaching. An officer said quietly. Varric did not move. Distance? 3 hours. No one spoke after that, because everyone knew there was nowhere left to run. Far away, the human fleet moved forward. Same formation, same silence. But something felt different. Inside the Resolute Dawn, Admiral Renko stood with Commander Hale. This is the last one, Hale said. Renko nodded. Yes. Hale looked at the screen. Orders. Renko did not answer immediately. He was thinking, not about winning, but about ending. Prepare all units, Renko said finally. But wait for my signal. The human fleet slowed down, not stopping, just slowing. Hours later, both sides stood face to face again. The final line. No escape, no second chance. Xyler ships aimed their weapons. Human ships held position. Why are they waiting? A Xyler officer whispered. Varric watched carefully. They are not waiting, he said. They are choosing. Then, something unexpected happened. Small human ships moved forward. Not warships. Transport ships. They're sending something. An officer said. Scan them. No weapons detected. The ship stopped in the middle of the battlefield. And then, doors opened. Escape pods floated out. Slow, unarmed, unprotected. What is this? One Xyler officer asked. The pods reached Xyler space. Opened. Inside, Xyler soldiers. Alive, weak, but safe. The same prisoners shown before. The same enemies humans had saved. A message followed. From Admiral Renko. We return your soldiers. Alive. Silence. Deep silence. Xyler officers looked at each other. Confused. Shocked. Why? One of them asked. They are our enemy. Varric stepped forward. Watching the pods. Watching his soldiers return. Alive. For the first time, his voice was not strong. Because they are not like us, he said. Another message appeared. We could destroy you now, but we will not become you. Inside the human fleet, no one spoke. They all watched, waiting. Hale looked at Renko. This gives them a chance, he said. Renko nodded. Yes. And if they refuse? Renko's eyes turned cold. Then we finish it. Back on the Xyler command ship, the room was divided. They are weak, one officer shouted. This is a trick. We attack now. Others were not sure. They had the chance to destroy us. They did not. Varric raised his hand. Silence returned. He looked at the screen again. At the message. At the returned soldiers. For the first time in a long time, he thought not as a commander, but as something else. They followed rules, he said slowly, even when we broke them. He turned to his officers. What does that make us? No one answered. Varric closed his eyes for a moment, then opened them again. Prepare all weapons, he said. The room froze. Commander? An officer asked. Varric's voice became strong again, but different, not proud, not angry, just decided. We fight. The human fleet received the signal. Weapons locking. Shields rising. Hale looked at Renko. They chose, he said. Renko nodded once. Then we end it. The final battle began. No hesitation. No waiting. Human ships moved first. Fast. Precise. Powerful. Xyler ships fired back. Desperate. Fierce. Explosions filled space. Light and fire everywhere. But this time, it was not chaos. Humans controlled the battlefield. Every move planned. Every attack clear. Xyler ships tried to hold. Tried to push back. But they were tired. Broken. Alone. One by one. They fell. Varric watched from his ship. Systems failing. Fleet collapsing. This is the end, an officer whispered. Varric did not reply. A final explosion shook the ship. Lights flickered. Commander, we cannot hold, someone shouted. Varric looked at the screen one last time. At the human fleet. Still strong. Still controlled. They were right, he said quietly. Rules were not weakness. They were strength. Another hit. The ship began to break apart. Evacuate, someone yelled. But Varric did not move. He stood still, watching, thinking. This is what we chose, he said. The ship exploded. Silence returned. The battlefield was over. Xylar fleet gone. Human fleet still standing. No cheers. No victory sounds. Only quiet. Inside the Resolute Dawn, no one spoke. Enemy defeated. An officer said softly. Renko nodded, but his face was not happy. It is done, Hale said. Renko looked at the stars, at the empty space. Yes, he said, but remember this. He turned to crew. Rules are not there to limit us. They are there to protect us from becoming this. The crew listened, silent. A final message was sent to all systems, all races. War is over. Rules will stand again. Or humanity will return. Far across the galaxy, the message was heard and understood because now everyone knew humans were not the strongest, not the fastest, not the most advanced. But when the rules were broken, they became something else, something unstoppable. And no one would forget that lesson again. That's it for today's video. If you enjoyed this content, make sure to subscribe to the channel and support us. It really helps us grow and bring more videos like this. Don't forget to turn on notifications so you never miss an update. Thanks for watching. See you in the next video.